Did you know that nearly half of all millennials rely on their tax refund just to make ends meet? That's right. For millions of Americans, that annual tax return isn't just a bonus, it's a lifeline. But here's the kicker. The 2025 tax filing season is already underway, and there are some major updates from the IRS that could impact your refund. Add to that the new tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China, and you've got a perfect storm of financial uncertainty. So what does this mean for you? Stick around, because we're breaking it all down. And trust me, you don't want to miss this. Hello everyone, let's start with the basics. The 2025 tax filing season officially kicked off on January 27th, and the IRS is already processing millions of returns. Last year, the average federal tax refund was $3,138. For many, it's not just a nice to have. It's the difference between paying rent, keeping the lights on, or even putting food on the table. But here's where things get tricky. At the same time, the Trump administration has announced new tariffs, 25% on goods from Canada and Mexico, and an additional 10% on imports from China. And that's not all. There's talk of even higher tariffs on the EU and BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These tariffs could mean higher prices for everyday goods, from electronics to groceries. And yes, that could lead to higher inflation. So why is this happening? The administration is looking for ways to fund additional tax cuts, and tariffs are one of their strategies. But the big question is, how will this impact you? Let's dive deeper. Here's a staggering statistic. According to a recent Credit Karma survey, 37% of American taxpayers rely on their tax refund to cover basic expenses. That means if you're watching this, chances are you or someone you know is counting on that money to pay bills, cover rent, or even make a down payment on a car or home. Last year, the IRS issued over 105 million refunds, totaling a whopping $330 billion. But this year, things could be different. With new tariffs and potential delays in processing, there's a lot of uncertainty. And speaking of delays, let's talk about the IRS hiring freeze. The Trump administration has put a freeze on hiring new IRS agents, which could slow down the processing of returns, especially if your refund gets flagged for manual review. So if you're wondering, when will I get my refund? Let's break it down. Alright, let's get to the good stuff. If you've already filed your return, here's what you need to know about when you can expect your refund. If you filed between January 29th and February 2nd, your refund should hit your account by February 9th. Filed between February 5th and 9th? Expect your refund around February 16th. And if you file by February 16th, you'll likely see your money by February 23rd. Keep in mind, these dates are for direct deposits. If you're waiting on a paper check, it could take longer. And remember, the tax deadline is April 15th, so don't wait too long to file. Now, here's the million-dollar question. What should you do with your refund? For many, it's tempting to splurge on something fun. But with inflation on the rise and tariffs potentially driving up prices, it might be smarter to save that money for a rainy day. Think about it. Food prices are already climbing, and fast food and transportation costs are expected to go up too. So if you don't absolutely need to spend your refund right away, consider setting it aside. Use it to build an emergency fund, pay down debt, or cover future expenses. Trust me, your future self will thank you. Let's zoom out for a second. The combination of new tariffs, potential inflation, and IRS processing delays has a lot of people worried. And while the Trump administration has promised big changes, the reality is that we don't know exactly how this will play out over the next 3 to 6 months. Alright, that's it for today's update. If you found this information helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future updates. And let me know in the comments, what are you planning to do with your tax refund this year? Are you saving it, spending it, or investing it? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more updates, and I'll see you in the next video.